I want to talk about the idea that a lot of women have in their minds or carry around inside of them, that they don't want to be difficult or get in their medical caregiver's way when they're pregnant. I'm talking specifically around birth and labor in this instance. I brainstorm this with a lot of women when they're expecting their baby. My doula clients, my clinic clients, a lot of women talk about this. They feel worried that they're going to get in the way of their medical caregivers. To some of you, this might sound crazy, and high five to that. But for a lot of women, there is this true, genuine fear that they don't want to come across as difficult or, as I said, get in the way of their medical caregivers. Now, what often happens is that maybe a woman has a obstetrician or midwives or whatever, and they're tracking along well in their pregnancy, and then it comes to crunch time, meaning birth or labor or close to, and suddenly there is a change in, maybe there are some new suggestions, maybe there's induction, maybe there are some intervention talks that the woman is surprised about or didn't expect or not interested in. But what often happens is that a lot of women don't feel informed enough to ask the right questions or to have the right conversation with their caregivers about whatever it is that they are being suggested. For example, an induction or a C-section or whatever it could be. And the problem with this is that women tend to hand over their body to the medical staff in that sense. And that's a problem. Unless there is a medical emergency, then by all means, and chances are that you're a very reasonable person, that you're a very reasonable woman, and that you're able to have a conversation with your caregivers about what they're suggesting, what are the pros and cons, and what would an alternative be. It's not to say that there is an alternative that is better than what they're suggesting, but it's important to have the conversation. Unless you feel you fully understand the bigger picture of what they're talking about, whatever it is the suggestion is, or if you don't understand the concept that they're talking about, that's a problem. Because what then happens is that you just agree and you are essentially not giving true consent to what they're offering you, for example. So what we're looking at is the idea or the notion of you must be fully informed about whatever it is that you're being suggested to do or suggested to have in labor and birth, or in the postpartum for that matter. Because if you're not, you're just agreeing to something that you don't fully understand. What that entails is that you can potentially have side effects from that and not feeling like you were giving the right options, you didn't quite feel right about it, and it can feel invasive on a subtle level. And if you fully trust and you fully understand what you're being suggested by your medical caregivers, then it feels very wholesome. It feels really nourishing. It feels very supportive. And that is the feeling to have. So when women that I speak to say that, oh, but I don't want to ask that because I don't want to sound like I don't trust them, or no, I'm not going to ask for X, Y, and Z because what if I get in their way? That's not possible. Chances are that your caregivers are very, very smart, very experienced, and so they can absolutely handle your questions. They can absolutely handle your suggestions. And if they think it's really inappropriate, or if there is a specific reason why whatever you're asking or suggesting isn't appropriate, they will tell you. But there is always room for the conversation, because it is your body, it is your baby, and it's your experience. So unless you're fully on board, fully informed, then it can have complications. So hopefully you will take this with you on your pregnancy and birth journey, to remember to ask the right questions. That way you can give your full, informed consent that is required for you to feel fully supported and to have a beautiful experience. And this goes for anything, big or small situations. If you don't understand, you can't feel 100% sure that that is the right thing for you. And it's really important to remember this, because birth and labor and motherhood is a huge turning point for you. So it's good to be fully on board with your support system and being fully informed.